About my first husband, about 15 years ago, my first husband, whom I loved and whom his children adored, died 15 years ago when they were 5 and 2. And about 3 months ago, I started doing the daily meditation from the Guide to Your Vortex, and good things have been happening to me pretty much all my life, but this makes me more aware of it. And I was telling my 17-year-old son how wonderful it was, and I had given him and my other son the book and the CD, and I said, you should really do this, because look at all the wonderful things I've created in my life, the job I have and everything. And he says, my beautiful 17-year-old said, so Mom, did you kill Daddy? And it was interesting because I thought the same thing. I thought, if I create my life, did I create losing my husband? And then I thought, you know, before he died, he had said a couple times, I'm worth more dead than alive. And I thought, well, can one little mistake like that be taken so seriously? So that's kind of, I'm confused about that.
Well, it's interesting how, you see, it's so easy to have a conversation and then pick up on it in a completely squirrely way. But in the squirrely way that's active within you. In other words, your son wouldn't say that to you if there wasn't some of that active in your vibration already, because it is something you worried about and wondered about. But that wasn't his point at all. His point was, Mom, I don't know what kind of weird stuff you're in, but I really don't want you pawning that weird stuff off on me. So I'm going to hit you with both barrels. This is what everybody who feels resistant to the idea of law of attraction, that's what they do. They go to the most dramatic thing that they can think of and they lay it at your feet because they know there's no way that you can answer it. And that's the game that was going on. In other words, he doesn't think that you killed Daddy, but he thinks that if you're going to believe this weird stuff, then you have to accept that too. So that was his way of trying to separate you from this weird stuff. You sort of follow a little bit?
Yes.
It's like the media. If Jerry and Esther were ever unwise enough to be interviewed by the media, the first thing that they would ask us, or whoever it was they think they are talking to, the first thing that they would ask is, but what about the children? And what about the Holocaust? And what about the airplane crash? In other words, they always take the most extreme, difficult to understand. You have to be very well versed in law of attraction before you're able to put the entire world together through this format, you see. And so, in answer to that question is, you are co-creating everything, and everything that you are experiencing together, yes, is a co-creation. So the perfect answer to your really beautiful but in the moment smart aleck son would be, yes, I did, and you helped me. But what we really want to say about all of it is, first of all, it's really an interesting thing that people are so... Our friend earlier, it came up on more than one occasion, but talking about motivation as compared to inspiration. And we were talking about how when the vortex takes you in, as it always does in what you call the death experience, it is this jubilant, joyous returning to the whole of who you really are. And humans have such a distorted view of what the death experience is that it's really a rare one of them that can see death as anything other than loss or lack. So if you were talking to your son, or if we were talking to you, and we're talking about summoning you into the vortex and getting into the vortex where all that you want is, everyone's saying, oh, great idea, wonderful. I would even go to a seminar that talked a lot about that. But call the vortex the death experience, and no one wants to be at that seminar. In other words, even though the death experience is the ultimate vortex experience, you see. And so, but that understanding really has to be in place before anyone. There are a lot of people who, the best example that we have of this, we were visiting with a woman many years ago whose daughter had promoted her own death experience and had reemerged into non-physical. And this mother was in that logical and terrible place of feeling the absence of her daughter. And as we visited with her, we were trying to convey to her what really was going on and where her daughter really was, and how it was the path of least resistance, where she could leave behind or disengage from or deactivate the painful thoughts that had been holding her in such sharp contradiction to who she really was, that was for her daughter the path of least resistance, and that now she was without resistance and all that she was born to be. And so in wanting to help this mother begin her path of finding ease in it, we asked the question, aren't you really joyful that your daughter is now joyful? And the mother's response was, no, I want her here with me. What she was vividly saying is, I disregard the pain she was feeling. I would rather have her present where I can see her and in pain than in the vortex where I can't find her because I'm out there, not in pain. And can you see the dilemma that we have in having a conversation with someone? We couldn't possibly make that mother understand until we could lure her into the vortex where she could reunite and understand the fullness of the whole picture, you see. And so say to your beautiful child, I don't know how this all works yet, but I'm in the process of figuring it out. And I no longer believe that the death experience is something that we don't want to happen. In fact, I know it's something that all of us will experience. And I think we have more control about it than we've ever known that we do. But never again will I feel that something is wrong in someone moving out of resistance and into alignment. And then say, what I'm working on, and the reason that I'm excited about understanding this, is because I really believe that while it is beautiful for someone who is in pain and in vibrational resistance to who they really are and to the love and joy that they deserve, while it's really a wonderful thing for them to just let go of that and reemerge into non-physical, I want to show myself and anyone around me who wants to know how it is equally possible to bring all of that to me right here and now. In other words, I think that gate swings both ways. And rather than having to let go of life in order to connect with Source, it is my intention to connect with Source and have it flow fully through me here and now. And then say, and in that sense, I believe with all of my heart that we were all co-creators with Daddy on this important subject. Because it is because of his early departure that I focused myself into a place that I can now have this knowledge while I'm still here focused. And I believe that we set that intention in motion even before any of us were born. So I think it was co-creation at its best, say to him.
Okay. Thank you.